Welcome to day 53 of 66 and 26. For the 8th week in a row now, on Thursdays, we're in the prophet of Jeremiah in the Old Testament. We're right at halfway through Jeremiah. I know it's a long trek through this prophet, and it's been challenging and dark at times. Today represents a reading that gives us an opportunity for putting the book of Jeremiah in its historical context and just reminding everybody about where we are in the history of Israel. Now, if you are following along with our daily readings and following in the printed book for 66 and 26, there are right on the front, in the inside cover and the first page, explanations of each of the main periods of Israel's history. And with each devotion on each page, there is a symbol that corresponds with the Bible timeline at the bottom of that second page. And we're in a period in Jeremiah that is summarized basically as this: the divided kingdom and exile. So following King Solomon, about 950 BC, the nation of Israel split in two: Israel in the north and Judah in the south. And for hundreds of years then, there were a sequence of kings, some kings in the north, some kings in the south. And at one point, the Assyrians to the north of Israel came and attacked Israel and defeated Israel, the northern half of the kingdom, or the northern kingdom of Israel. That was in 722 BC. And then following that, in 586 BC, the southern kingdom, Judah, was defeated by the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar. And that's where we are in the history of Israel when we get to Jeremiah 25. We see Jeremiah predicting this moment when Nebuchadnezzar would come and attack Judah and take the king and most of the citizens of Judah away in exile, completely destroy Jerusalem, level the temple and all, and take the people away in exile. And Jeremiah tells us, Jeremiah 25, that this will be 70 years of exile. Now, that is a challenging word, especially for the people of Judah, but you can see in that also hope, because we know that it's not going to be a lasting exile. It's not a forever exile, but only 70 years. That generation will die off, and then God will restore the next generation, a remnant of the kingdom of Israel, back to the Holy Land, the promised land, to rebuild the city, rebuild the temple. And so that's where we are in the history of Israel. And you can see that if you pick up the printed page, the printed devotional books. If you are following along with our mobile app or on our website, on social media, and you're watching these videos and following along with the daily readings, then you can find that same information on our church website, faithfoxvalley.org/66 and 26. And you can get an explanation of those major periods of Israel's history and see where this lands in that story. Now, we have to understand too that after the exile, there is a return, which I mentioned, and that gives us hope. But you'll also notice, and you've heard me say this many times through this journey of 66 and 26, especially as we're in the Old Testament, we see a lot of things happening in these chapters that anticipate Christ. They're patterns that we see that continually point us to Jesus. And we see that just as the prophet Jeremiah was hated and mocked and despised by the religious leaders and others, the people of Judah, so Christ would be despised and rejected and then even crucified and put to death for the nation, for the world. And we see in Jeremiah that hatred in Jeremiah 25, 26, and 27, already anticipating the time of Christ and the work that God is doing for all the world, not just for Judah.